This is my key fob. It's f***ing huge. This is what's inside of it. What the heck? I'm gonna take the guts of this and turn it into a phone case so I don't have to carry around my keys anymore.
Off the suede Durango jacket, ball slang glow, Bronx is only Django. Snappy a golfer stopper, that's where my pops go. That's where my pops went. See my percentages are pinned to the planet. Knock it out the ballpark, frank it.
So from what I can tell from this board, there are, out of the 8 connections that this thicker black module is actually connected to the board through, only 6 of them actually go anywhere. The other 2 are just structural. So what I've done is just soldered on really thin, I think this is like 22, 24 gauge wire, to the pads that actually connect to something, and I'm just going to put it right next door to it on the back of the phone, and try and have it stay as flat as possible, and then I'll just have all the connections pop over to the board. Then the battery will go underneath. I'm going to try and solder directly to the battery.
Shit.
And even though the battery will eventually die, I'm pretty sure my fob has a function where if you hold this, I think it's this module here, if you just hold it near the door, it acts as a passive RFID chip and it'll just unlock the door, and you don't actually need power to it. You do have to hold the tag like up to your start button, your ignition button to start it, but I don't mind if that happens. I'll just use the battery for the rest of the time and then use the functionality of just the passive RFID tag. So I'll solder directly to the battery. I'm also putting my RFID tag for work in this phone case, just because I always forget my wallet on the top floor of my building. When I have to go down to the shop, I can't get back in. It's a huge pain, but I always have my phone on me. So I'll just throw this in the tube while I'm making a case. All right, now that I have all these components separated out, I think it's time to CAD this sucker. Alright, so now what I'm doing is just adding a whole bunch of extra super glue to the edges and then throwing a little bit of baking soda into it. And that not only immediately makes the super glue solidify, but it also kind of adds mass to the super glue. So I'm kind of like gusseting up this little ridge in here, sanding it down, adding some more glue, and kind of going through that process. I want this thing to be like kind of a smooth transition. I didn't really do that in CAD just because I wanted to print it quickly, and also if I made it really smooth, it probably would have been difficult to get that overhang to happen well in the printer. So I'm just doing it manually. But yeah, a little more gluing and sanding, and this should be a nice continuous addition onto my phone case. All right, moment of truth. Unlocks fine. Starts right up. All right, let's lock it now. Here we go. It worked. The range was not quite as good as it was before when it was inside of its original case, but it still absolutely worked me. I would say probably between 15 to 20 feet away, it worked just fine. And of course, it also just unlocks from proximity, not necessarily having to press the button, but just be close to it, the door will just unlock. It's not very pretty. It's still got all that super glue around it, but I might just hit it with a coat of spray paint and it'll look just fine. And on Monday, I'll test out the key fob at work, but that should work no problem. I made it through like 3 layers of leather and a whole bunch of other cards before when it was in my other wallet, so. All right, there it is, integrating a car key fob into a phone case.